We got shirts on sale. Express your love for the evolutions and the new channel rebrand with an evolution t-shirt and hoodie. On sale now. Also, if you like anime, go check out our anime channel MysticSage for awesome anime content. And be sure to follow me on social media so you can stay caught up with the channels and me. Links will be in the description below. Today, I'm going to be presenting to you guys a brand new take on the Best Teams series that combines the theme best teams you guys have gotten used to seeing the last few months with the character-based best teams I've done before for Misty and Brock. I figured there was no character more worthy of being the first trainer in this series than the well-respected champion of Sinnoh herself, Cynthia. The way things will work here is that I'll be choosing 6 Pokemon for Cynthia to use on this best team from across the several different pieces of Pokemon media that she has appeared in. These can be the anime, the games, the manga, and the trading card game, among others. Since we're going to talk about using this team both in-game and competitively, I'm going to go over them separately. When it comes to the in-game playthrough side of things, the plan here is for you to start the game with all 6 Pokemon at level 5, genned in or otherwise. From there, I'll show you just how easy they help make a playthrough of the game with some of the moves they'll have at their disposal, yet skip over a little bit of the usual stuff I do with these in-game best teams, like actual moveset and whatnot. When I am through with that part, we'll get into the competitive discussion in the same way we normally do with theme best teams. With that intro out of the way, let's get right into things, and show off Cynthia's best team that can get her from the first gym leader in Sinnoh all the way up to being the champion. Let's open up this team with the ace of the staff, the one Pokemon that everyone thinks of when they think about Cynthia, her wonderful Garchomp. Cynthia of course uses Garchomp in every one of her appearances, and it's a beloved member of her team, possibly becoming even more of a beloved Pokemon simply because of its relation to her. There's a plethora of moves at Garchomp's disposal as well that will help it in battle against the leaders of Sinnoh, including Dragon Claw and Crunch, and some TM moves like Earthquake and Brick Break. Let's operate under the idea that Garchomp is constantly running with a couple of stab moves, thus meaning that it'll be good against Rourke's whole team, Malin's Lucario, Byron's whole team, Volkner's whole team, Bertha's Rhyperior and Golem, Flint's whole team, and Cynthia's Garchomp and Lucario. Next, Cynthia has got none other than Lucario joining her on this journey. As I just went over what the Pokemon Garchomp is good against, Lucario is a part of Cynthia's championship team in the 4th generation games. Lucario is yet another extremely popular Gen 4 Pokemon, just like Garchomp, and it begs the question if its usage on Cynthia's team is one of the many reasons that goes into its level of popularity. Lucario's got some absolutely tremendous moves that it learns by level up in Gen 4, like Close Combat, Swords Dance, and Extreme Speed, and there are even more moves it can get its hands on via TM or Mover Learner like Metal Claw, Earthquake, and a couple of the Elemental Punches. So using the stab of Lucario, it can be useful against Rourke's whole team, Malin's Lucario, Byron's whole team, Kenneth's whole team, Bertha's Golem and Rhyperior, Flint's Houndoom, and Cynthia's Lucario. We have got yet another Pokemon that has made many appearances on Cynthia's teams throughout the years, and that is of course the incredible Spiritomb. Since we're doing things from an in-game perspective using Platinum, we of course don't need to worry about the presence of the fairy types. That of course means Spiritomb has no weaknesses, and that's a pretty big deal. Spiritomb is definitely the kind of Pokemon that excels more to its defensive abilities as opposed to what it's capable of doing on the offensive side of things. It's got some good moves, don't get me wrong, including Shadow Ball and Dark Pulse. Now, just as we did with Lucario and Garchomp, if we take Stab into account, Spiritomb can do well against Malin's Meditite, Fantina's whole team, Kenneth's Frostlass, and Lucian's whole team. The next Pokemon is another one that Cynthia uses on her championship team, and that is Roserade. This was a great one to pick for the sake of diversity, and Roserade really offers some great moves in its pool with Mega Drain, Sludge Bomb, and Energy Ball. In Gen 4, Roserade is definitely one of the best grass types available, so it's really no surprise that a great trainer like Cynthia has one on her team, and there is just no way I would have gone and put this team together without featuring it. You'll be starting with Bidoof of course, and will have to work your way up to Roserade, but it's a very rewarding challenge to get through the evolutions. When we use Roserade's Stab, it ends up doing well against Rourke's whole team, Gardenia's whole team except for Roserade if you can get your hands on a poison type move, Crasherwick's Quagsire and Foltzel, Kenneth's Piloswine and Abomasnow, Bertha's whole team except for Gliscor, and Cynthia's Milotic. This is a Pokemon that Cynthia actually has in the Pokemon TCG set Beat of the Frontier, otherwise known as Platinum Supreme Victors in English. Now here's the thing, I've obviously been going based on just the stab moves that a Pokemon would have on them when telling you who they do well against. However, as you know, Licky Licky is a normal type, so there is no super effective damage it does well against with its stab. I'm not going to bother getting into specifics of what Licky Licky can do well against, but let me put it this way. As a normal type Pokemon, there are a ton of different moves that can get its hands on. All the elemental punches, knockoff, Power Whip, Zen Headbutt, and several different HMs are available for Licky Licky to use. So just build the best set you can if you end up putting this team into practice when playing through Platinum. Just remember, when you want to evolve your Lickitung, you need to level it up while it knows rollout. Finally, our very last Pokemon is going to catch a ton of you off guard. Remember, you're starting off with the base form of all these Pokemon on the team at level 5, so you'll have to start off with this one at level 5 too. Everyone, I'd like to introduce to you the final Pokemon on this team, Rayquaza. That's right. Back in the same Pokemon Supreme Victor set that brought Licky Licky, we also got a Rayquaza owned by Cynthia, and that works just enough for me to include it here. It can easily serve as a flyer for this team, learning the move by level up at 45, and it's obviously the strongest Pokemon on this team. Its stab moves will make it useful against Gardenia's whole team, Mayleen's team aside from her Lucario, Candace's Abomasnow, but you better be careful, Aaron's whole team, Flint's Infernape, Lucian's Gallade, and Cynthia's Roserade and Garchomp. There are a ton of other moves that aren't just Flying and Dragon that Rayquaza can use that makes it even more dominant against the leaders and Elite Four members in Sinnoh. As you can tell, this whole team can be incredibly dominant in a playthrough of the Gen 4 games. Though now we're going to take a look at just how dominant the team is competitively in the 4th generation as well. I'm going to start right back from the beginning again with Garchomp, and since we're building this team for competitive usage in Gen 4, there is no Mega Evolution to put in here. Since that's the case, I'm going to build it as a normal Garchomp would have been back then, and start with its ability, which is rather useless for this team, Sandveil. Garchomp has got a great stat layout, and of course I've got to make it Jolly Nature and give it 232 EVs in both speed and attack, leaving it with 333 speed and 359 attack. Those are some great stats for back in the day, and they really help knock home the fact that Garchomp is incredibly dominant. I've given it the Life Orb as an item as well, which will make Garchomp's attacks 1.3 times stronger, and then take away 1/10 of its HP after every successful attack. The moves on Garchomp's set are Earthquake, Outrage, Brick Break, and Rock Slide. Earthquake is downright the most powerful move Garchomp has, even though Outrage has a higher base power. Earthquake's 100 base power is boosted to 150 by stab, and again 195 thanks to that Life Orb. That's an incredibly good move right there, and it will absolutely rock most Pokemon in the 4th generation that don't resist ground type moves. Next is Outrage, and that has got base 120 power that goes up to 180 from stab, and then the 234 with the Life Orb. But since it will hit for 2 or 3 turns in a row and then confuse Garchomp, I would say it isn't as great as Earthquake. Brick Break is next, and it's a great coverage move against Ice types, with a Life Orb boosted 97 base power. It'll help destroy screens too, of course, so there's an added benefit to using it. Rock Slide closes things out, and it also has a 97 base power from Life Orb's boost, except this move has a little less accuracy with a 30% chance of flinching the opponent. Garchomp is able to cover against its weaknesses very well, and quite frankly it is one of the most absolute best Pokemon in Gen 4, which really justifies the fact that it's the ace of the region's champion. Lucario is coming up next, and it is, of course, yet another legend of the 4th generation's competitive scene. I had 2 options for its ability here, being Steadfast and Inner Focus. Both have to do with flinching, and I decided that I would rather make it that Lucario can't flinch at all, as opposed to rely on his speed boost if it actually is flinched. So I went with Inner Focus. I also gave Lucario the Choice Scarf, which boosted speed by a 1.5 times boost, but locks it into whatever move it uses first for the rest of the time it is on the field. I'll boost Lucario's stats with 252 EVs in speed and special attack and make it timid, putting its special attack at 329 and its speed at 459 thanks to the Choice Scarf. It's moving fast and hitting hard. What more could you ask for? Lucario's moveset is Aura Sphere, Dark Pulse, Flash Cannon, and Hidden Power Ice. Aura Sphere is a move I decided to include here thanks to the base power it has being 90, and that's boosted to 135 thanks to stab, and also its accuracy. Aura Sphere flat out just doesn't miss, and is what I consider to be the best stab on Lucario. There is a second option in Focus Blast, but it has not so great accuracy. I felt it was a good idea to give you guys the option. You can turn to a powerful move that doesn't miss, or you can choose to use an even stronger move that has only 70% accuracy. Focus Blast has a stab boosted 180 base power and a 10% chance to lower the opponent's special defense, and it's all around a fantastic move to turn to if you can get past the poor accuracy. Next up is Dark Pulse. With this move, Lucario will have coverage against other ghost types and psychic types that will get in its way. It also has a chance to flinch, so that's pretty nice too. Flash Cannon is another great stab move that is at 120 base power thanks to the boost, and it also has a 10% chance to lower the opponent's special defense. It's a great move that can help cover for Garchomp's weaknesses to ice types, so really it just goes to show how much Lucario and Garchomp really go hand in hand. Finally, there is Hidden Power Ice, a move on this set to help cover Lucario's major weakness, the ground types. It's only 60 base power, but it still can easily take out a Garchomp in one hit more than likely, so it serves a wonderful purpose of defending against those pesky ground types. We move on now to Spiritomb, and like I made reference to earlier in the video, this appearance as a competitive Pokemon will be more based around stalling than trying to fight flat out. Spiritomb has the ability Pressure, which is normally reserved for legendaries usually, but in this case, it really plays well with this Pokemon, serving more of a stalling role. I've given it the leftovers, so that it'll restore 1/16 of its HP at the end of each turn, giving it a constant source of healing. Its stats focus a lot on its defenses, and in that case, I decided to add 232 EVs to its awful base 50 HP and good base 108 defense, as well as the bold nature. Those stat changes result in an incredibly modest 303 HP and a great 346 defense, creating some form of bulk that we can rely on. Calm Mind, Dark Pulse, Substitute, and Toxic are the 4 moves that Spiritomb has comprising its moveset. Calm Mind is really good, and it also helps build up a special defense we didn't do anything with when adding in the EVs. A single Calm Mind will raise Spiritomb's special defense to 378 and special attack to 333, suddenly creating a major wall that has got the ability to hit hard as well. I've given Spiritomb the stab move Dark Pulse, which of course is boosted to 120 base power, and even has a 20% chance to flinch the opponent. Next up we've got Substitute, and that can be used to set up an even greater wall that prevents Pokemon from taking down Spiritomb so easily. For at a cost of a quarter of its health, it'll probably be able to take an extra hit or two without losing any health. Finally, there's Toxic, and you guys know how that works. If you use it, the opposing Pokemon will steadily lose more and more health at the end of every turn until it finally faints. Next we have Roserade, and this one is going to be an absolutely powerful special attacker. Roserade gets some of the best possible moves available to its stab typings, and that is always a welcome thing with good Pokemon. I gave it the ability Poison Point over Natural Cure, as I feel there is more traction that could be gotten from it, since we don't have to worry about Roserade being poisoned, and it being burned isn't really the end of the world for it since it's a special attacker anyway. Speaking of, I gave it the choice spec so its special attack will go up by 1.5 times, but it will be locked into the first move it chooses in battle until it switches out. I gave it 232 EVs in special attack and speed and made it timid, bringing those stats out to 305 in speed and 522 in special attack when the specs are factored in. The moves Roserade is using in battle are Energy Ball, Sludge Bomb, Extrasensory, and Hidden Power Fire. Energy Ball is a fantastic move that was introduced in Generation 4, and gets put to use very well by the special attacking grass types, being a stab boosted 120 base power, and of course including a 10% chance to lower the target's special defense. Sludge Bomb is another absolutely fantastic move that has a stab boosted power to 135, and it carries a 30% chance to poison the opponent, thus giving you yet another Pokemon that can deal a crippling status element. Extrasensory is 80 base power with a 10% chance to flinch, and it serves as a great move for other poison types, just in case you're in a position where Roserade is trying to sweep a team, which is incredibly possible. Finally, we have Hidden Power Fire with 60 base power, which is here for coverage against 2 of Roserade's weaknesses, Bug and Ice types. You could realistically change this to Hidden Power Electric if you found yourself being more fearful of flying types, but I preferred going with Fire here. Following up Roserade, we've got one of the 2 TCG Pokemon on this team, Licky. This guy has got a great and diverse move pool, like I mentioned earlier, so building this set was a fun one that gave me a ton of options. Licky has a pretty good ability and own tempo that I went with, which prevents it from being confused, so he could be a great candidate to switch into if you can predict a Swagger or something like that. It's got great bulk with 110 HP, and I decided I would focus on that and its attack stat with 252 EVs. Those, along with the Adamant Nature, combined to give Licky 423 HP and 295 attack. It has got some awful speed, but it should be able to take a hit or two thanks to the bulk, and then hit back nice and hard. Licky has a pretty straightforward moveset, taking all 3 elemental punches and Body Slam into battle. Oh, and before I forget, I gave Licky the Expert Belt, which makes the attacks that it goes for, that are super effective, do 1.2 times more damage. Ice, Fire, and Thunder Punch all have 75 base power, and each carry a 10% chance to cause a status element to that opponent, making them fantastic coverage moves for a wide variety of types in the 4th gen. Licky has the power to probably one-hit a Garchomp, a Gyarados, or an Abomasnow without really trying thanks to all this coverage, and that's honestly a great role on the team for it. Body Slam is just there for stab, and can't make usage of the Expert Belt since normal isn't super effective against anything, but it's still a great move to complement the other 3. You've got 30% chance to paralyze with it, and the move is 127 base power thanks to stab, so it's just an in general strong one to go for. Another option you can have for Licky is Return. Return is a normal type stab move that is more power based on the friendship your Pokemon has. The higher the friendship, the more damage it does. Licky is actually so good as a member on this team, and I'm so glad I included it. Finally, we've reached the true big guns on this team, the incomparable Rayquaza. It has the ability Airlock that completely shuts down the weather, and its item it'll be holding is a Choice Band, which works just like the Scarf and Specs, except this time it's giving the boost to physical attack. This legendary needs no introduction, so just know that it gets 232 EVs in the speed and attack, and it is also jolly. That means it's got 317 speed, and with that Choice Band, it has got an absolutely destructive 598 attack stat. This thing is a complete beast, and man do I wish they had Cynthia do more with Rayquaza outside of this appearance in the trading card game. Rayquaza has got a moveset that starts with Outrage, followed by Waterfall and Earthquake, and closed up by Iron Head. Outrage is going to have 180 base power thanks to Stab, and it's just such a powerful move for Rayquaza to be rocking out with, even with the confusion that will eventually come. Waterfall is another great option, featuring 80 base power with a 20% chance to flinch the opponent. It serves as great coverage against Rock-type Pokemon, much like the next two moves on the set. Earthquake is just an incredibly powerful base 100 move that will also defend against Rock types, but really handle those Steel types that resist Outrage. Finally, we've got Iron Head, that not only is here to stop the Rock types, but it'll absolutely devastate most Ice types and help Rayquaza serve as a sweep candidate in every battle it enters. Rayquaza is so dang good, and I love that it's on this team. Well, that's gonna do it for this one. I hope you guys like this combined look into things. I know I spent most of my time going more in depth about the competitive nature of this team in Gen 4, as opposed to how they do in Platinum, but seeing as this is a hybrid series, you can learn a lot about how to use this team in-game by hearing how they're used competitively. I love putting this together, and I look forward to seeing what you guys thought about it. Would you have put together a different team? If you use this in your copy of Platinum or on Showdown in the Gen 4 tier, let me know. I really want to hear about it. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream all sorts of games from Pokemon to Fire Emblem to Zelda and much more. I also have an anime channel called MysticSage where I do anime reviews, rankings, and countdowns. So if you're interested in that kind of content, go ahead and check that out as well. If you want to support me even further and gain cool perks, check out my Patreon. These lovely people have all given me their support over there, and I couldn't be more grateful to them. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mystic Umbreon, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.